Mental started a long time ago because that's how he rolls.
We're recording.
We're
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
I don't do this very often.
We believe in you.
Thanks. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we're not going to discriminate, long as you drive it hard and build it yourself. Join us every week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. Whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough that Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everybody report to the paddock. This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. You knew this would be a Volvo episode of our episode because it's 240. I mean, really? What else are we going to pick, right? Raise your hand if you've owned a 240. Just Mental. All right.
Well,
sure, we could have
in
gone.
my family has been a 240 Mercedes, which is a terrible car.
Oh, you're right. That's a diesel Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Without the turbo.
Yeah. I guess there's a Nissan Datsun 240 also, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could have done that.
Oh, I had a 210.
Was it a Bumble? Was it a Bumblebee 210?
30 episodes too late.
Sorry. Well, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, I didn't have a 240.
According to whoever wrote this in the notes, there's also a Corvair 240 and a Cessna 240, but not everyone. This isn't everyone flyers. So producing a range of 2, 4, and 5-door versions, as well as an exclusive Bertone coupe. Over 2.8 million Volvo 240s were made from 1974 to 1993. Holy cow, that's a long time for a single model. It won the European Touring Car Championship in 1978. It was once named USA's cleanest car by the California Air Resources Board, CARB, if you've never heard of them. So if you're rolling deep in the boxy, safe, Swedish shaggin' wagon of love, check out our bingo card because you got plenty of room. Or if you're not driving it, okay,
you should check out a bingo card. Today's the day.
Bingo card. Today's the day because we're going to talk about all of those things on the bingo card.
We already checked.
For those watching on YouTube, probably know why. But if you're not watching on YouTube, pull it out anyway. Pull out the bingo card. If you get bingo, take a shot of it. Check it out.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay, great.
What you working on, Chrissy?
Thank you. I guess I could have said what you're working on, and then that's weird. Okay. So we did a lot of yard work this weekend. I did lawn. We were cleaning all of our beds. We hosted our mother-in-law, and then we hosted a big Easter party. So it was a lovely weekend, and work's a little stressful. It's running me down. It's wearing me out. I come home every day pretty worn out, but I guess I shouldn't complain. But I did have some safety incidents. So you can check Chrissy Talk Some Safety off your bingo card because I dealt with some hazmat issues on Thursday, my 3rd day. And I keep trying to remind people that today is just my 6th day. So I shouldn't be handling the whole world. And I should know everything and training people had to use a very, very large overhead crane because it's my 6th day.
You get to use a big overhead crane. I am so jealous.
I will, but I'm not trained, and nor am I capable of training people on machinery that's theirs and not something that I am proficient in. So,
do you have your own hard hat?
No.
Do you have to wear one every now and then?
No.
Okay. Usually, when you're working with cranes, you need a hard hat. Chris, Christmas
if this
idea.
crane falls
just saying.
on you, then hard hat is the least of your worries.
Cool hard hat is a great gift.
Okay.
Those people who need to wear it.
You could place for a lot of those race stickers you've collected.
It's true.
Sure.
But if you don't need one, then you don't need one.
No, it is not a hard hat area. It's not used very often. And what we're carrying is not, if it hit you in the head, it'd be pretty bad, but good point. Noted. I do not need to wear a hard hat. Thankfully, because I have to wear safety glasses all the time. But I did before I got the job. I bought myself some new pairs, so I don't have to worry about all the scratched ones that were coming from the garage. So
I'm checking off. Someone talks about something no one cares about.
Oh, I care.
I'm going to disagree because I also care.
Fine,
Oh.
uncheck.
I know you can check it off. Jeff, what are you working on?
What am I working on? I'm still at work. It is
there's that.
8:16 on a Wednesday night. I don't even know what day it is. That's how much it is. So check off Jeff complains about work. It has been a crazy week that I don't even talk about. For those of you who don't know, I work at a college and I work at all the events and things. And between spring break and the finals week, there's just events constantly. And literally, I was doing an email 5 seconds before I said, well, I don't have time to go home, so I might as well stay here and do the podcast from work. But what did I do this weekend? That is the question. I got my mower working. It needed a new battery. This brings my average battery life in the riding mower to just about 1.5 years. So I'm aware there's a thing called a stator. I'm aware that mine might be bad. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to change it. A battery is $29 and I get
Do you
another
put battery
season.
tenders on in the winter?
Sometimes.
So no.
No.
Maybe
No.
there's your problem.
Maybe there's your problem. Yeah. And it sits outside too, because I have no room in the garage. Yes.
Outside is okay, but the battery stays a nice constant level of charge all year. It's happy and it works.
Yeah. There's battery chargers on so many other things in the household. But anyway, I will say that when I was I talked about the rodent in the roof, right? I had that conversation on the podcast. For those of you who haven't remember,
That's a while ago now, right?
It was a while ago.
Squirrel got to be living underneath my solar panels, and it ate a hole in my roof, and they had to come and remove the solar panels, and they put up like chicken wire around the solar panels so that they couldn't get in. Yeah, that mother effer got back in again. So we had another hole in the roof. Thank you to Big Sexy for 100 years ago leaving a bunch of aluminum like diamond plate in the magic trailer, because I took a chunk of that and I slid it under the solar panel and I screwed it in until the people could get in to keep the rodent out. I did lots of Googling on what will kill a squirrel.
Oh, let me know.
Yeah, the internet
why
is
one of those things not your dog?
because it's on the roof. Dogs don't get on the roof. Yeah, so he lives between so then everyone's like, just shoot it, Jeff. That's what the internet is saying. It literally says, just shoot it, Jeff.
Yeah.
Under the solar panels, once again, how do you shoot under this? So yeah, we mixed up a cocktail of I cannot describe, in case there's a cop or the EPA listening, about what might take care of a squirrel, and slid it under the chicken wire and resecured a new chunk of chicken wire because we had no idea how long it was going to take the solar panel company to show up. But they showed up like the next day and repaired our roof for free because it was their fault. The squirrel got in again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wow.
Without much fight. That's great.
No, literally the guy was like, I'm sorry, this is our fault. I will fix it.
That like never happens.
Yeah. And it was a little hole about this big, and it was
all they need.
it was
squirrel size.
It was this far because I could just reach it with my fingers under the solar panels.
I feel like this could be the sequel to Caddyshack with the groundhog and Bill Murray, Jeff versus the
You know what to kill that squirrel?
Roof.
Dynamite.
That also might kill my roof. Yeah, that was what I was working on. And we obviously had a lovely Easter and went to Pennsylvania and went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for Easter. So that was fabulous.
That was fabulous.
Yeah. Mental, what you got going?
We had Pantless Matt and Lisha in for the weekend. They got in Friday night, and then I was doing pit crew work for him while he was chasing the stock class of the Corvette Challenge for Speed Ventures this weekend here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He crushed it. It was really impressive. Actually met some listeners and some folks that knew Lemons are, and I got recognized walking down there. Then Sunday, Vicky was feeling under the weather, and our buddy John Polnick, who from Bid Nerds, Durr Fascination, called me up, said, hey, you want to come do some driving for some stuff we're filming on the Rami show? So I got to drive a highly modified AMG G-Wagon
Nice.
chasing a Porsche GT2 RS around we thought it was a non-use airfield. Then the plane landed. So we just categorize it as an underused airfield. We almost burned down a Porsche 930, but it was a good day.
Were you like the camera car, or were you like?
Initially, yes, and then we came up with some other dumb stuff to do. So when that episode comes out, watch it. It's a lot of wanton tire destruction and absurdness about drag racing a GT2 RS and a AMG G-Wagon down an underutilized runway. You'd be surprised how quickly you can get a former military vehicle moving.
When
When a plane is about to land on your ass, yeah.
Yes. You put a nuclear bomb under the hood, basically, is what they did. Mercedes have done it.
Effectively, yeah. It's a later version. So it's the twin corkscrew supercharged, and then it's gone to a tuner. So it's had some work done to it.
Yeah.
That's the full 6.3, right?
Probably a little more at this point. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
That's what you got.
I did some yard work. For car stuff, I did an axle boot on the NSX. This is a good consumer advice of supercar ownership. This is the second repair I've ever made on this car, is in 4.5 years, is one axle boot, and Honda sells the kit to replace the axle boot. It is about $50. It comes with a boot. It comes with clamps. It comes with the C-clips you need to take the axle apart. It comes with the grease. It comes with a new axle nut, everything you need in one little bag with a Honda part number for cheap. So
this has to be a non-NSX only part.
No, it is an NSX only part.
Really? Okay.
They sell this. So rather than buy a new axle for $1,200, I just replaced the $50 boot, and it was not that bad. Except when I was putting it back together, I couldn't thread the nut onto the ball joint. This is a Honda problem. It happens half the time I take the ones apart in the Civic, because one time you put the C-clamp press thing on it, it deforms the bottom of the ball joint stud. So, but I can't really I'm just going to replace the ball joint because I can't find that they're available separately. So I'm lying under the car with a file and stuff off, and you can't really get a tap or a die onto it, because the die isn't 360 degrees of threads. It has gaps for the
material to leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom of a ball joint stud is also not 360 degrees of threads, because it has holes drilled in it so the cotter pin can go through. So it just, the two of them, it really
only
hard
goes
to get
so
them
far,
to
and then it
line up.
loses.
Exactly. So it's hard to get it to work. So, but when I found another nut that was the right size, I kind of used that as a sacrificial thread chaser once I got enough done, and that worked enough to get it clean, and that I could get the die on it a little bit, and then it all went back together fine. So yeah, NSX is all back together, happy with its new axle boot and trans fluid, and all good. Working on Civic a bit, working on ducting and support for the bumper to make sure air is going from the front all the way through the cooling stack, and that the bumper is supported, and that the air intake is not going to suck up water, because it's just right now it's in the wheel well with the tire. If it's raining, it's just going to suck it all up. So
it never rains at Lemons events. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm trying to deal with that. And on Friday, Chrissy and I looked at 2 potential new tow pigs, new to us tow pigs, to start narrowing the field down a bit. So there's 2 hands. Mental's hand is first.
So I saw this when you made the show notes. What has prompted this? Is there just is there something going wrong with the mighty Yukon, the Canyon Arrow? I've
been annoyed by the can't get the damn thing to pass emissions all winter because it's too cold here to get the readiness monitors to set. That's just annoyed me. I've had the truck for 10 years, and at this point, I'm going to, once it becomes non-NSX Corvette season, I'm going to have to daily drive this. Now that we're going back to work, and Chrissy's going back to work 5 days, and when we pared down the field, Chrissy was working home from home, some I was working home from. We thought 1 day a week we'll both drive. So fine, I'll take the truck. I'm also just getting annoyed with 4 gears towing up hills. It's just annoying to tow. It'll do it, yeah, but either you're screaming in second, or trying to maintain 60 in third, and lugging, and just I'm not feeling it anymore. And it's never been great to drive. It's always been a good tool, but I don't need it as much as I used to for hauling like building materials and stuff like that. And I just want something a little nicer, and I can afford something nicer. So the dishwashing fairy is apparently also is looking for a tow vehicle he just needs it for a tool. Use it for towing, use it for hauling stuff, using when he's to put all his kids in it. It's perfect for that if you're not driving every day.
Expect also you might get an email or a text from Tyler.
Yeah, possibly. So between that and I'm sure I can sell one of the only rust-free Yukon 2500s in existence at this point that's had all the GM things fixed.
Yeah, we should mention this is a GMT 800 or 900? 800. 800, okay.
6-liter. Is currently at the shop getting valve cover gaskets or potentially an oil pan gasket and an evap thing fixed, because I said, you know what, I'm just I don't want to deal with this right now. So good local mechanic that I trust, you do that, and they are right now. So that's good.
Are we allowed to know what's on the table for the replacement?
If you'd like, I'll tell you the two that we've looked at so far. One was a 2016 Cadillac Escalade ESV.
Seems much nicer to drive on an everyday basis.
It is. Has 100 more horsepower and 100 more torque than our current tow vehicle.
What motor would be in that? Because you have the 6.
This is a 6.2, but it's
much more modern.
The engine evolves, and also has an 8-speed automatic instead of 4.
Much nicer.
It was impressively nice all around, I gotta say. And also we looked at a 2016 Toyota Sequoia Platinum. It was big enough, but I was really disappointed with the interior quality. Like,
it's not going to stay up to the Escalade.
No, but still, they're the same price used. So, or like the Toyota is very slightly less, and also
you probably should have looked at them back to back. That was
underneath
kind of the problem.
Well, I'm glad we did, because underneath, looking at the rust on the surface, it's all surface rust. These are only 5-6-year-old cars. The Toyota was notably surface rustier on the subframe than the Cadillac was in the frame, which doesn't surprise me given Toyota's frame rust issues on their big trucks and all this. So I wanted to see that. So between the crappy interior, and even though I know the Toyota will run forever,
that's bold.
Compared to
not just Slade, not as nice.
I'd say compared to a Slade, absolutely, and help compared to the current Topig.
And it was a little bit better than our current Topig, but barely. But like our other, the Mercedes interior is so nice, and the Escalade is so nice. But just the materials quality, you could tell that was a pickup truck designed in 2007.
Got it.
Like, it's all hard plastic, it's all chunky, it's all like, it's all from the Tundra when they're just like, oh, manly man wants a big beefy thing to grab with work gloves.
Right. The door handle is honestly this big. You like,
it's like
I'm sorry, that's
fat
a good
thing to grab.
Very large.
Just everything about it I just didn't like the design or quality of the materials on the interior, and that but if they're the same price, like,
I totally get that. I could see you commuting around in an Escalade a lot happier than you would be in the Toyota. But what about like the Lexus version? Can you get an LX, whatever it is?
The LX 570 is a Land Cruiser, which is smaller and less capable for what I wanted to do than the Sequoia.
Okay. So
the other things are potentially the other thing really on the list is a Mercedes GL 550. So the twin turbo V8, 400 and something horsepower, biggest one they make, but it's just not as good at towing as the Cadillac, even though I'm sure it's better at everything else.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper because they made them the same way. So anyway, we still need to go drive one of the GLs, but.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I don't need my hand up anymore because what you've already answered my questions. But I knew when the rubber hit the road and y'all needed to commute again, another car was in your future. I didn't think it was going to be the Topig change, but that totally makes sense.
Chrissy wants to get another Miata, of course. I really am tired of maintaining so many things. And so I don't want another thing to maintain. So if
we won't have to do it much with the truck if we have Miata. You're going to use
still I'd still have to maintain it. It's still going to get used. It still has to be reliable. It's 20 years old with 200,000 miles on it.
Miatas are easy. Chrissy could take care of it.
Right.
It's one more thing to park to do, like everything.
We got parking.
Where?
See,
Miatas are small.
that Jeff
Miatas are
does not.
small.
Everything that you've just said, Jeff's like, yeah, I do it. So
I want
what?
one car for Chrissy, one car for me, and one fun car, and then 2 race cars.
and then
Boat,
and
the-
then
right, the
and a
boat.
boat
Trailer.
and two
This-
trailers.
enclosed trailer, a little trailer.
Yeah,
What?
and the
Classic,
and the boat
your
trailer.
your classic
this-
car also.
No, that needs to
Oh,
go
that's
away
gonna
too.
go away.
Yeah, that's on the chopping block.
and,
Right.
and don't forget your Lotus 7 project.
Which that's a different thing. That's wall art.
Dude, bought a long
and-
time ago.
And it's not like Jeff and I have even the slightest bit of wiggle room, because despite that impressive
Nope,
list, I think
not
Jeff
even
and
a
I
little.
probably still,
No.
we're
No.
way ahead.
No, that
Yeah.
is why I bought a new daily, because I cannot have another thing to work on. Let's move on to news
Let's-
and notes. This is
let's-
fantastic.
Thank you.
In response to Verstappen and a couple other people complaining about the Aston Martin safety car being not as quick as the Mercedes,
fast enough.
the FIA has responded. The short version is shut up. Philip Horton at Auto Week gives us the skinny on the F1's response. Here it is, and I quote, in light of recent comments regarding the pace of the FIA Formula One safety car, the FIA would like to reiterate that the primary function of FIA Formula One safety car is, of course, not outright speed, but the safety of the drivers, marshals, and officials. The FIA said, adding that the additional considerations are looking for debris, negotiating the field through cleanup crews, and bunching the cars up for a restart. Quote again, the speed of the safety car is therefore generally dictated by race control and not limited by the capabilities of the safety cars. The final, mind your P's and Q's from the FIA was, and I quote again, the impact of the speed of the safety car on the performance of the cars following is secondary consideration, as the impact is equal amongst all competitors who, as is always the case, are responsible for driving in a safe manner at all times according to the conditions of their car and the circuit. And Max, stop driving next to the safety car. Oh,
Right?
wait,
How
that's my
safe it-
part.
Or everyone else.
Or
Yeah.
everyone else.
Right. This is all. It's a really good point. It really is.
Yes.
Shut up.
Max, if they name
Mhm.
a rule after you, then you're winning. Who else has got a story?
The Verstappen rule.
Oh,
Stop driving next to me.
All right. Hey, everyone's probably heard of the U-2 spy plane, and it has nothing to do with Bono. What you might not know about is that it is terrible to land. It's got enormous wings and a tiny canopy, and the pilot is literally wearing a spacesuit. So, since the 1950s, the Air Force has employed a variety of chase vehicles to drive alongside, kind of like behindish, almost behind and along the plane as it lands. So another U-2 pilot in the car can give specific instructions to the pilot until it touches down, because otherwise he's got no clue. Like, especially once he's in ground effect, he's floating. He doesn't know where it's going to touch.
Oh, that sounds.
Because there's a lot of wing. A
Yeah,
lot of wing
and
on
you're,
this
you're a
sucker.
long way away and you can't see a damn thing.
Oh.
So anyway, since the 50s, the chase cars have included highly modified Ford station wagons, Hot Rod El Caminos, Fox Body 5.0 Mustangs, and LS1 Camaros. The final internal combustion solution was the Pontiac GTOs and the four-door G8 GTs with 6 liters of LS power. Now they do it with Tesla Model S's.
They're
So-
still flying U2s?
Amazingly, yeah.
I thought they were retired a long time ago.
Nope, they've all
The
got
SR,
long
I
gray
think
beards.
you are confusing that with the SR-71.
No, I know that. I thought they retired the U2s before a long time ago. I know.
Damn things
definitely
just
know the
work.
difference. Yeah.
So anyway, you can now buy one of the four-door Pontiacs that helped land the U-2 spy
Oh.
planes. And as Brian Sylvester at Road and Track said, he called it a piece of military history that you can drive to Cars and Coffee, adding the phrase lightly hooned to how it was driven. There's a link to the article as well as the GovDeals website included in our show notes. It's a white Pontiac G8 GT automatic.
I'm going there right now. That's fantastic.
You can't have one. You don't have any room in your house.
No, but I really liked these. These were a possible when I was shopping for the Veloster. These G8 GTs were almost impossible to find and stick. The
These
GTOs.
These
were
are all
really
going to be
expensive.
automatics. All the government ones are going to be automatics.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, remember when the new Supra was introduced? It was the darling of SEMA. We all went ding, ding,
Ding.
ding, ding every time it happened, and all of the automotive news world. Do you remember the biggest complaint? Well, no more. Toyota USA posted a picture of the 3 pedals and the caption, "Did you think we were done?" Colin Wood at Grassroots Motorsports tells us that the proper transmission is more than likely. He also relays that Toyota United Kingdom announced that last week all new tailor-made manual transmission is coming to the GR Supra. The pictures included in the press release are also showed the same 3 pedals. Also, according to the UK press release, manual-equipped Supras will get a unique red Supra badge to differentiate the car from an automatic equipment models. I love that. Link in our notes.
See, it's funny. I saw that ad and I assumed they were talking about the Corolla, the GR Corolla.
Whoa.
Fantastic.
Great.
So since y'all looking around at a new potential tow pig, maybe it's time to talk about a new trailer. Look, I
Not
use
for
my
us,
trailer.
but-
Yeah. The trailer for me, by the way, is like external garage. I use it for storage. Everything is living in it. But you guys have air conditioning in yours. You've created a lot of the electrics that I don't have.
I could
in
make it my
mine,
she
so
shed
it's
when
true.
I want to get away from you. I just thought of this.
That's awesome. But do you know where you can look for maybe a new trailer?
Let me guess. It might be Racing Junk. Who knew? Hey,
The official
you wanna-
classifieds of
if-
Everyone Racers.
if you want to take your trailer game to the next level, check out this one that Mental found on Racing Junk. It was once Bobby Hamilton's when he won the Camping World Truck Series in 04. Current owner used it for 5 years in Cup and just moved down to ARCA now.
It's a 53-foot semi trailer with a 61-inch upper deck. What that means is the cars can be upstairs and your garage can still be accessible downstairs. Not just the garage, but a lounge with a satellite TV.
Satellite TV is what we need. But this does haul 2 cars and has one of those slick lifty gate things. So you drive in and then you lift it up to the top and slide it in, which actually works as an observation platform. There's a 205 kilowatt generator, all the tools and scales and all the stuff that you need. If you can find that picture with the gate, because that's the money shot right there. It is right there. See that? You drive it into the back. For those of you watching on YouTube, of course, drive it into the back of the tongue there, lift it up to the top and drive the car up top.
And that's actually not the observation deck. The observation deck is on the roof of it has fold up safety gates up on the roof of the trailer.
Awesome.
Hey, but that ramp is a great balcony. Let's be honest. It's a nice place to hang out. The seller's apparently even going to throw in their pit road toolbox, which also has an observation jack. Although I always feel strange about sitting on the top of those things. Like,
See,
if you
unsafe.
back a little
This
too
is
far.
unsafe.
Right. Let's see. They've got jacks, pit guns, scoring system, video monitors, a cool down machine, another Honda
cool-down
generator,
machine?
a tire cart, gas cart, can cart, the gate, the generator all rebuilt, the
An
tires. and batteries are
$89
new.
microwave. Look at that.
Yep. Great.
Oh, this is crazy.
That's awesome. You know what? It's fun to dream. I mean, Chrissy, what could we cook in that sucker, right?
Right. We could cook in it and then we could just we're going to have it out front so everybody comes over and looks in alls at it. But yes.
I have an idea.
Okay.
And this worked last year in Pittsburgh when we wanted nachos. Bill, I know you're listening. What do I need to do to convince you to go get a CDL and buy this sucker?
And it's also in Washington State. So we also have to then,
You got a CDL, you go pick it up.
I know.
Actually, I have a CDL. I could bring it to him if he.
There you go.
Okay, browsing the classifieds at Racing Junk and as well as basic listings are free. So it's a great place to just dream about what you wish you could have, trailers, race cars, all of that, all parts. Go there, check it out.
Quick caveat, Bill, please don't go buy this because you have been known to do some crazy things.
Upcoming races.
Lemons is reviving their famous block party at CMP, which is it is like the only reason I would go to a race at CMP anymore is because the block party is a lot of fun. Thanks to Fifth Toast Eric for the entry list. There's 82 cars, 10 of which are BMWs, which
That's
are
awesome. It's awesome.
It's a nice, low, boring count.
It is. It's boring, but it's 8%. Or no, sorry, it's more than that. It's 12%, but still, it's fine. 2 Miatas, 8 Hondas, no Porsches, and Lemon's first ever Mazda Protege 5.
Love the Mazda Protege 5.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
So the party is this weekend, not the fall race.
This is the only CMP race of the year.
Oh, there's only one. Okay.
Know who's some other friends of ours are going to be there. The Subaru Forester that we caged of Unreasonably Hopeful Racing.
Nice.
It's going to be back.
Good job, Eric.
For the weekend.
That's not 914 Eric. That's the other Eric.
Different Eric. Yep.
That's Eric. Didn't bring any. Only brought one pair of pants. Eric.
Yep.
Mad scientist versus DJ.
Yeah.
Let's hope that it's nice weather.
It's on fire.
It's always nice weather, or it's hot usually in September when we usually go, but it's usually nice. So let's hope that they have good weather. All right.
And not many fire ants.
Oh, they're the worst. All right, moving on. Lucky Dog is at the Ridge for their Podium the Ridge, presented by Autosport Labs and Race Capture. 79 cars, which is going to be great for them. 27 of those are boring.
Now that's a boring count.
Yeah, just a little
boring percentage.
12 Miatas, 7 Hondas, and 6 Porsches.
Don't forget the Rocky Mountain Breakdown Lemons Rally, which is also this week. 20 hopefuls across the 4 states starting tomorrow. That is Friday, right? Because we're Thursday. Oh, they're starting on Thursday. So probably when you're listening is when they are starting. It starts in Denver. It goes to Santa Fe, then Flagstaff, one of my favorite cities to hang out in down there in the Southwest, and then to Moab and back to Denver, almost 1,500 miles if you stay en route, and you're not going to stay en route. You're going to be all lost.
It's a lot of windshield time on this one.
It's a lot of windshield time.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of cool places though.
A lot of square states. Those square states are
20 cars so far. Some very good choices. A 52 GMC, because you can get parts there anytime.
They're really good on the highway too.
Yeah, 65 El Camino, 77 Trans Am.
Nice.
Can you feel the freedom?
Yes.
Other notables are an 80 Fiat 124 and 80.
I think that might be worse than the 52 GMC. I'm not sure.
All of these you can just get parts anywhere, right? So like any flaps, you can just walk right in and say an 89, 89 Riata, a 92 Suzuki Kai van. Okay.
Yep.
The little one.
Those top out at 60.
It's the little tiny van.
660 cc's.
Miserable. And as Eric put it, 03 school bus MFs. Yes. And perhaps most interesting, a 53 MG TD. And that says, and Eric says the original, it's all original and going to absolutely hate the altitude. Any survival tips from Chris?
Bring tools and water and patience and
you're going to hate yourself.
Adjust your SUs ahead of time.
And brake tools. You're going to be adjusting your brakes.
Fortunately, it's literally a flathead screwdriver through the drum.
Yes,
click.
The spoon, the drum spoon.
No, you don't even need that. It is really through the front face of the drum. You spin the wheel till the thing lines up, and you put the screwdriver through, and you go click, and that's adjusting the brakes. It's
I adjusted the brakes on my father's 51 TD in 1991, and have not touched it since.
Insert Chrissy saying, "I was 7."
I didn't even say you were thinking about that. I was just thinking about when we got stranded in the TF when we went down the street. So I was thinking, that was twice actually.
Good luck, because also that's another thing that 60. That's about where it's going to be happy on the highway. So it's going to be them and the K van and the 52 GMC.
This is all remaining cars right there.
Cool bus. Yep.
Okay. Recent results. Champ Car snuck in a Tuesday race yesterday. The Sunset.
I had no idea.
The Sunset at PBIR 8-hour was the last race ever run at Palm Beach International. It will be demolished to become a warehouse. Wonderful. 47 cars, 6 BMWs.
That's a little right boring.
I think it's pretty great. 16 Miatas, that's a lot. 4 Hondas, including our friends at Fat Crack Racing and their Accord, along with 2 Porsches. First was Floridiat Motorsports in an 85 Porsche 944. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Just a minute and 50 seconds over Blue Steel's Miata. 3 laps back was Marathon Coach Motorsports in a boring BMW. Fat Crack finished 30th after retiring with a transmission issue.
If you're cool and you're Marathon Coach Motorsports, go onto the Lemons forum and buy the Checker Marathon that is available out of Colorado and live up to your team name.
I don't think they're that cool.
I think the Marathon may actually be a company that coaches people to run marathons.
Still, it would be great.
It would. It's a great business tool. You can totally write that.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, listener feedback time. Our pit hangover episode. Sorry. John Y said, great recap. We are happy to bury the hatchet with car 43. They ran a great race. Oh, by the way, was the other driver in the Cheat Strong. Yes, we figured that out, John Y. And I said, thanks for the update.
Tim B, creator of Chrissy's exclusive shirt there, said, quote, he loved hanging with the 3 p.m. crew and adding sometimes way later than he should have.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
A lot of laughs, though.
Is he 40%
Absolutely.
gold and 80% party?
He was not, but the other
No,
person
he was there. He was
In
there
fact-
when it happened.
No, I know it wasn't him, but I'm saying, was he hanging out
yes.
at the time?
Yes, that was it. And speaking of that, Peter A addressed the originator of the episode title saying, thanks all for taking care of our soapy sea lion. I thought he'd gone to bed.
No, he didn't. Should he have? Probably.
Well,
Oh.
yes.
Alex L says Chrissy was correct. The incident occurred on Sunday. This is the smash BMW of, I don't remember their team name.
Stupidly
Well, they're
misguided.
running.
Thank you.
They're running with garage ears.
Yeah, there it goes. They did have a spin on Saturday when David was in the car, which broke the front tie rod after the first stint on Saturday. So they had a incident on Saturday, but the big crash into the rear bumper was Sunday. So thanks for the update.
Correct. And an additional update, driver Jeremy, he's healthy and fine, just a little sore. They have a plan to rebuild. Good luck with that. You know about how, right.
Yeah, that's definitely that wasn't even a question of can you cut it off? Well, nope. That's just a new chassis. Cool.
All right. Sim racing. We did some sim racing, right? And I wasn't there. I was
Yeah, we
supposed
did. You weren't there. E1R race, we were at Imola because that's where F1's going to be this weekend. So I thought that'd be fun. First, we were in touring cars and AA Ron took the win overall there. I was solidly mid-pack and didn't crash and do anything terribly stupid. So I was happy about that. Actually, Corey and I had a bit of a battle as I was lapping him. He did a great job. He picked it up. Second race, I decided that everyone had a bit of a death wish. And we had a field of the 87 NASCARs on this braking heavy track. If you've never driven the 87 NASCARs, you have to plan well in advance for any braking maneuvers. Dave took the win over Andrew Pullman in that one. An interesting fact, though, the average lap times of the touring cars was 5 seconds faster than that of the 87s, which have 2.5 times the power. So yay for modern suspension, brakes, and tires. Really.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Whoever else loves modern suspension, brakes, and tires.
I was going to say, who else is 2.5 times more awesome than the rest of us?
That's better. Yeah, go for it.
Both are true. Hi, Mom.
Hi,
All right.
everyone. Don't
Hi.
get left out.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the main topic time? Our main topic time is all about spares this weekend, or spares this week, and not the kind of spares that you do like a 7-10 split and then you hit the one and it goes and it hits the others and then you're like, woo, I got him down in 2 balls. No, we're talking about the kind of spares that takes all the balls. It's what you bring to the track that you're going to need to survive a endurance race with a crappy car. Anyone want to add anything before we get into it? Like maybe some of the categories we're going to cover and not cover?
Well, spares are. Go ahead, Mental.
this does relate to endurance racing, and that because that's where our experience is. But many a regular just track day or sprint race has been ruined for want of a nail. So pay attention to some of these lists. And if you've got a lesson you've learned, let us know.
And having these things takes a little bit of foresight, not a whole lot, actually, only a little. And you'll end up saving yourself tons of time on track and a whole bunch of money, because you're not going to be running around East Bumble F, wherever you happen to be, have a racetrack, looking for the random obscure part you need for your car. And if you find it at one of the flaps, you probably have to go to the distribution warehouse that's 60 miles away. And then you're paying 2 or 3 times the Rock Auto price for whatever it is. Yeah. Get them ahead of time. Right. And no magnet. Exactly. And everything's just going to work out better. So the extra bit of forethought will make your whole weekend so much better.
Yeah.
So
this is not a packing list, by the way. This has nothing to do with what tools you need or what kind of food you need. Those are all covered on different things. We're really talking about keeping the car running this week, right? Just making sure, right? That's what we're talking about, everybody. Awesome. Who wants to start?
We're going to go through consumables, wear items, stuff that broke before, easy, small, just in case kind of things, and then universal stuff that can go for anybody. So
consumables, obviously we're racing cars and things wear out and they go through. And one of your biggest expenses is also going to be one of your biggest expenses in spares, but you need a whole set of extra wheels and tires. Chris, what was the race at Thompson where we went out and we were in first place, and then we found ourselves back out of the hunt, and then we were back in the hunt, and the day got ruined by just a piece of safety wire, random safety wire that got stuck in the sidewall.
Yep.
I think that was Thompson 18 or Thompson 19. It was definitely 19. Thompson 19.
Yeah, 19.
Luckily had a spare set of wheels and tires rolled in. I want to say it was less than a 3-minute pit stop that Jeff threw on the new wheel, and bam, you're back out there in the hunt. And that worked out really well. If you have like these really expensive aftermarket wheels, okay, then that gets a little pricey. But even if you just need an extra set for when they got bent or is got a weird shimmy to it, you can get these stock wheels out of the junkyard, or a stock size set of Steelies for your race car, and tires. And if you're just starting out in this, it doesn't even have to be a full up set of actually 200 tread wear race tires. You could go get the Douglas Extra Tracks. All they need to do is be round, made of rubber, and bolt onto your car so that you can keep turning laps, even if you're not going to be competitive. And a bonus of having those is if you've got a set of not really competitive tires and it starts pouring down rain, you've got tires with tread, and you would be surprised how much those all seasons will make you very competitive in an environment where you weren't competitive before. The next one is the easiest, and it is brake pads. When you are ordering brake pads, just go ahead and order 2 sets. You need 1 per rotor axle. Almost lost a race at Mid-Ohio because we had just worn the pads farther down than we expected over the race weekend, had a spare set, and managed to change that pad out in about 4.5 minutes, put the car back out there, and we won the race that day.
Let me jump in real quick here. Both of these you might say, but I know my wheels and tires are going to last, or I know my brake pads are going to last. Both of these can get screwed up very quickly if something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or you get hit.
Or absolutely, you could be a hit, or it could be a whatever. Like we've had stuck calipers wipe out a set of brake pads. And I'm just going to
ball joint or something else, and your alignment's bad, you wipe a tire off.
Yep.
There you go.
Both of these, you could save an old set. You can have an old set of tires or an old set of brake pads. I think when I sold the last race car, the Ombre, I think I gave like 4 half sets of brake pads.
You did. Yeah, I've looked through them.
Yeah.
So, totally. And that's what we usually do. We run 1 set until it's about 2/3 worn of ST43s, because that third of left is easily a day of racing. No problem. So then those go in a box and a new set goes on, and now we have pads for a day anytime we need them. There we go. And 1 set of tires used for testing day after you've used them on the track, after they're wearing out. They're just in case tires. That's all you really need. In addition to the pads, though, I also bring 1 spare rotor front, one spare rotor rear. You don't need to pair them because they're heavy and pain, but we've had like a rotor crack, and now we got to go find a new one. I don't know. That's tough to do. So between that, or if again, a caliper comes loose or a pad chews through, you didn't know the inside pad on that rear caliper was going, and so now all of a sudden you're scraping metal to metal. You need to replace it. Just have, you don't usually need two, but one's enough.
Absolutely. The other feels obvious, fluids, especially if you're running DOT5. That's not always available at the flaps. If you're running your high-end stuff, you might have to order that ahead of time from Rock Auto or Performance. Obviously you're using water in the radiator, but any other specialty fluids you might have to include bearing grease, axle grease, things like that, for the want of a nail, because you're going through the car Saturday night, you're doing okay. You're just doing the once over, and oh crap, we've got to replace this part. All the parts stores are closed. We can't get this stuff till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Green flag drops at 9. You're going to wish you had it. And it's a cheap insurance policy, and most of it doesn't expire. And then finally,
little things like when you need to pull an axle out that you didn't expect to have to pull out. When you do, you're losing your gear oil, you're losing your trans fluid, whatever it might have been. And you're probably putting decent stuff in it. You're not just getting super tech at the Walmart, even though you could, but this, get the right kind of fluid for you. It's easy, leave in the toolbox. Done.
Absolutely.
I remember one time at the New Jersey Motorsports Park, I was running out for something, and I said, "Who needs stuff while I go out?" And Bruce and Greg looked at me and go, "GM supercharger oil." Nope. Ain't nobody had that.
Right. And if you've been running the car for a while, or you've done the research on the car that you just built, what is your car going to eat through regularly? Is it spark plugs, fuel filters? You pull it out of a swamp and you got a tank full of rust, anything like that, air filters, things that your car just likes to go through very quickly, have those. And the advantage of all these consumables is you don't have to have a huge enclosed trailer or even a pickup truck. These things, when you're done, you have them in milk crates. They fit in the car when you put it back up on the trailer to go home, and then they're there and you always know they're there. So just have these consumable, the things that you know going to wear out. And as you replace them, there's your extra set. These tires, they made it through the weekend, but now they're the extra set. These brakes, they did really good on this one track day. Now they're the spare set. When I got the Mercedes from Chris and Chrissy, it came with a set of 2/3 left brake pads because they'd taken it on the one lap of America and just didn't want to have to worry about it. So they put a whole new set on there. Wouldn't you know it, I got my little, replace brakes soon warning come up on the dash on a Saturday evening. Came in perfectly handy. So I didn't have to go down and special order anything. Immediately, I was able to drive right away.
Cool.
Excellent.
Next thing, wear items. Weird things that go whir for the most part. Anything that moves goes whir.
I love that. That is brilliant.
I got that from Vicky, actually. She's like, I need to bring check the things that go whir. I said, yes, that's a great way to say it.
I imagine like a drawer that says things that go whir.
Probably.
Hold on.
So, and over time, you'll know what are these things you really need for your car. But in general, let's start off with wheel bearings. When we're racing, we're putting a load on these wheel bearings that they are not really designed to take all the time, because people don't drive that way all the time, fortunately. So wheel bearings are going to go, even though if they lasted 200,000 miles of daily driving, you're probably going to get maybe at most 10 races. That's it. That's all you're going to get before they go bad. So get new ones. And then the real key is if they are the bolt-on kind, like, GM stuff, great. Those are easy. If they're the press-in kind, go try to find a press at a track. Well, wait.
Let's see. What have we used? We've used the back of a pusher RV.
That's the only successful thing I think we've ever
use
used.
A set of bleachers once?
No,
we
did, but someone else did. Someone else used the bleachers at NHMS.
Okay.
Actually, and then you're right. I used the dumpster at CMP once, but I ended up jacking up the dumpster, like the whole dumpster with the floor jack. And then I had to jump up and down on the dumpster and hit it with hammer. It was bad. So that's how big a thing you need. Basically diesel pusher RV under the engine, or massive stadium bleachers. That's it. So do this at home when you have your press, and bring whatever it goes into already loaded with the bearings, with the hubs, whatever else it needs, put ARP studs in it, all ready to go. Because that way, when you need to swap it, it is a 20-minute job instead of a 2-hour job where you're going to be cursing.
Yep.
Yeah. Next thing, the other things that go whir, ball joints. They don't really go whir, but they go when they go bad. They move. Every time your suspension is moving.
This episode is made for me to make noises. Sorry.
It is. Totally. Every time the suspension is moving, the ball joint's moving. And also you're giving it all these side loads that it doesn't get in the street. It's going to wear out. That's just it. So just like the bearings, if this is pressed into something, bring the thing it's pressed into. So you just bolt in, bolt out. Like, so for Hondas, I bring a whole set of knuckles that already have new ball joints, new wheel bearings, a good hub, all ready to go. It's so easy. For the Mazda, the ball joint is in a part of the lower control arm, but you can buy the whole control arm from Rock Auto with a bushing and a ball joint for $60. Great. Now it's really 4 bolts, and you replace the whole thing, and it's in and out, and you don't have to worry about it. So get it all ready to go in the most serviceable way you can. Another thing that moves every time you steer, which you do a lot on the track, tie rods. Also, if you happen to get bumped in the wheel at all, that's probably what's going to break, is the tie rod. So inner and outer, the whole thing makes for a quick, easy fix. If you have it, keeps you on the track for a long time. If you don't, because all this is really safety related. And then there's some more durable items that are still going to keep your car off the track if they fail, that might borderline become wear items, like a water pump. If your car is the kind that goes through water pumps, most of the older American V8s go through them a little faster, you're going to want to have one of those as a spare. Fuel pumps are important to have as a spare, because if your idiot teammate runs the car out of gas because he's trying to chase somebody for first place.
Oh, that's not really his fault.
That wasn't why I ran it down.
No, it's because I told you to do 2 more laps and you said okay, and then
I don't think I have to.
And I was like, do it, and then
told me I have to.
I think this happened.
Yep, metal.
To that end, why does running the car out of gas, especially on a hot racetrack, cause the fuel pump to fail prematurely?
Well, fuel pumps are like any other electric motor thing. They have a motor, they usually have a rubber impeller that pushes the fuel, and they are cooled by the fuel they're sitting in. So if they are no longer being cooled by the fuel, they are going to get hot, especially if you leave it running. So just like Jeff's hot sauce. Yep. If you leave it running and it's not getting cooled, now that rubber impeller is just running in its little housing with no lubricant, no cooling water, and it's going to melt, or something in the whole system is going to melt. So have a spare fuel pump. We have replaced, I'm thinking 3 or 4 fuel pumps at the track over the years that I can think of. Yeah, easily. So bring a fuel pump. I got a junkyard one for the Mazda. Even the Mazda has its original 254,000 mile pump. I pulled another used pump out of another car, saying, like, just in case,
gonna need it sooner or later.
I got the whole assembly. There you go. Because otherwise, on Rock Auto, it was $300, but at the junkyard for 30. It's like, apparently it lasts pretty well, because ours lasted a long time. So we'll try it. Jeff.
I'm just going to talk really quick about wear items.
Yeah.
Things that last forever in a street car will tear themselves apart in endurance racing. You don't understand the cornering loads and the pressure and the everything that we do to these cars until I've said it 100 times. How many times in your road car do you go flat out for as long as you can, and then go as hard as you can on the brakes, and then turn
all the time
full speed?
That's how I drive.
And
that's
then
how I drive.
Flat out again on the gas.
If you have a 1.6 Miata, that keeps you up with traffic.
True.
I drive or MGTD or something like that.
But the heat and the wear and the everything is so extraordinary in an environment of an endurance car. You don't believe. You're like, how can that possibly break? They last forever. they just broke on your endurance car.
Well, you make a good point. Chris brought up the thing about wheel bearings. If you're racing at Road Atlanta, in a Miata or anything like that, you're going to replace your wheel bearings either during or immediately after that race. Just the sheer quartering load on the front driver's side wheel, rear or front wheel drive. That's just how you come through turn 12, and it's going to tear it right up.
Yeah. All right. Not on wear items, but some of these may be wear items. Every car has weakest links. Every car has something that it does that does not keep up or that breaks frequently, whether it's a bad design or an overtaxed part or just something that clogs a lot in that car. You know, it's kind of the thing that breaks all the time in that car. This is really car specific. I was listening to Bill's podcast. He was talking about Pittsburgh, and he's got a Honda. And what did he say? We needed a distributor because everybody says that the distributors on those old Hondas just don't last long.
Well, it's also where everything is.
Where
Every
everything,
single thing that's going to fail is in the distributor. It's the coils in there, the igniters in there, the cam sensors in there. Everything's in there.
Yeah.
So it's
So
just
do you-
easy. Pop on, pop off.
So do you need a distributor for your car? If it's an older Honda, you do. And this is the category we're talking about. There's things that are just too weak. S10s, the fuel pumps in the tank. We've replaced them. I think we did 3 in the S10s. 2 when it was ours and 1 when it was Bill's. All right. Fuel pumps in old Chevys, in the tank pumps, don't last that long. All right. Rear wheel bearings and hubs in the Mazda 3. Right? How many? We've done 2 so far, Chris?
Well, we did the 2 brand new ones that I put on, made it through a track day and 1 race and cracked. Like all the way through cracked.
But the stocked ones lasted the whole time, lasted the entire life.
250,000 miles.
Yep. So you don't know what it's going to be. We've never done a rear wheel bearing and hub in any of our other cars, I don't think.
Nope, the ones in the Honda I put on in 2014.
There it is. It's car specific. CV axles for front wheel drive cars. That's pretty much a gimme. Front wheel drive cars are not, most of them are economy cars. Most of the ones we're driving are economy cars, I should say. The CV axles are not going to put up to the abuse of endurance racing. If you've swapped a motor, bring twice as many sizes. You're going to need them all. Go ahead, Mental.
GM front wheel drive cars tend to change their axle designs mid-year. Even for the same engine and transmission.
Yeah.
And,
do you have an F code? What is the 8th letter of your VIN to know which axle you have? Yeah, terrible. And you're not going to find those parts. A lot of these parts, unlike your wear items, you can find frequently because they break a lot. Ignition coils are everywhere. Why you don't have a spare ignition coil for every single car in your fleet is beyond me. That stuff fails all the time. Again, repeated, heat. It destroys these things. Go ahead, Mental.
Tell the story of the almost engine coil swap when the boat was winning.
Oh, did we actually swapped it? I think.
No, we were waiting. You guys were standing in pits, holding the coil right by our garage, waiting. And as I'm driving, we're in first place in C, and my max RPM gets lower and lower and lower. And we're at a point that I can't go above like 2,600 RPM, but there's like 2 laps left. I'm like, just hang on, baby.
Just go
hang
on. Yeah. It's a fast swap. So we were going to swap it. The Sorry for Party guys have swapped coils, literally pulled in the car, threw in an extra coil and threw it right back out there for the same reason.
For newer cars that have individual coil packs, it's a great diagnostic tool. So you get a misfire in one cylinder, boom, just swap that coil out.
Yep.
Coil
absolutely.
and plug, boom. Just it's an easy, quick swap to see what happens. For our cars, I just buy 4 of them from a car at the junkyard that looks like it crashed. That's why it's at the junkyard. It's not that it didn't run for some reason. It was moving fast enough to crash. I'm going to grab 4 of those, and they're cheap, and they're probably OEM, and they're going to be good spares.
Yeah. Wheel studs. We break a lot of wheel studs. We've switched to better wheel studs. We switched to ARP ball end because of this. But a wheel stud can ruin your weekend, and it's $5 frickin' dollars and you can bang it out. So why you don't have spare wheel studs? You have a couple of them. Have lug nuts. Like, you don't want to lose lug nuts. Have spare lug nuts.
And your idiot friend kicks the pile of lug nuts as you're working on the car into
I
the
feel
grass.
attacked today. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
You're never gonna see them again.
But I didn't say fudge. Yeah.
Neither did he.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never. I'll step in the oil when we're changing oil, but I've never kicked over the wheel stuff. But anyway, they're cheap. Why they're not thrown in your toolbox, I don't know. The next one is not for everyone, but maybe for just about everyone. Brake calipers. We've had a lot of caliper problems. A shim gets bad. Something just isn't clamping right. You know, like rust on the off season can mess this up. They overheat. This is just one of those things that this is the overheating is going to blow the seals on. Overheating brakes is going to blow. We did a whole episode on this. I don't have to tell you why to get a brake caliper. Maybe you need brake calipers. Put them in your thing. Go listen to the brake episode. Mental.
Like Chris was saying, these, especially if it's a specialty item, these are things you pull off that crashed car in the junkyard when you're
Have a backup. Have a spare pair.
Mm-hmm. Or Rock Auto is so cheap for some things, like just so cheap that just do that, leave it in the box it comes in, and someday you're going to need it. Someday, probably. So just have it. Like, especially get on their RSS feed for your particular car for whatever's on wholesale or closeout. And then that's when you buy brake hoses for like $4.
RSS feeds for Rock Auto. That tip has just paid for your entry fee to the Everyone Racers podcast right there.
Sure.
That also seems fairly dangerous if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. All right. I have a fun topic because I like all these things. Easy, but small, because you never know when one of these things seems like a flat might have it, but you might have something just a little bit different. So let's talk.
Oh man, I'm easy and small. I'm thinking about past girlfriends for a moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not mine, other people's.
Welcome to everyone. We got sued.
And I guess I could have said something about ex-boyfriends.
That's what I was hoping for.
It's certainly small.
Quick.
Yeah.
There you go.
I did not say that. Anyway, we're talking caps. Oil. That's a good one. But the other, brake reservoir and radiator are my two favorites, because some of these things are like you took it off and you left it and you said, oh, okay, well, you close the hood. Oh, I forgot to put that on. Or we definitely had a radiator cap fail. I don't remember the story. It was definitely on the Honda, and I think we had a problem with it. I'm pretty sure we had a spare, so that was helpful. But we've had some issues. Chris, do you recall radiator?
I don't remember that one specifically, but
I think I know what it is. A lot of times the radiator cap is, why is it blowing fluid into the, let's try another radiator. It's never the radiator.
It's always the head gasket.
It's never the radiator cap.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's exactly what it was. Anyway, it can't hurt to bring it, especially if you've changed your radiator to a different one than the stock one, because then you may not be able to find it at all. So it's good to bring caps around because they're easy. Throw them in your toolbox. No
gas
problem.
Caps. It's never the gas cap until it's the gas cap.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Again, another thing that you get at the junkyard when you're there. So hoses, I think we have a box of hoses, and I think, so we talk brake hoses, especially if they are braided, if there's something specialty, and a hard line with already flared ends, that would mean you are really ahead of time. So so then you don't have to go to the flaps and try to,
even if it's way too long, just make a loop in it and it'll work and get you through the weekend. Because it's already flared, already has fittings. It's enough to get you.
I like that idea, because I was trying to figure out how you normally they're too long to fit anywhere, and you're not going to hang it around.
And for caps, we talk about oil caps, like on their valve cover, that kind of oil fill cap, because when someone goes to put oil in and they leave it on the cowl,
yes,
and you go out and it falls off.
I literally talked about that. You just weren't listening.
You can't just stuff a rag in it.
Yep, true. And just don't also double check before you close the hood. So yes, we did. Maybe you should listen to the show. That'd be awesome.
Sorry.
Major molded coolant hoses. Again, we have a box of hoses that have come in handy for not just us, but other people. And having ones molded, especially if you have a coolant hose that has a bend in it just so that it's not hitting anything, and you bought that one and it fits exactly the way you want it to, maybe you should buy two, because they can't hurt to have extra hoses in your arsenal.
Nice.
Actually, for some of our cars have weird hoses.
Yep.
Like the ones in the Civic right now, the lower hose is the upper hose from a Saab 9.5 with a V6. And it's this weird corkscrew you're never going to find again. So we've got extras. And the upper hose is from a DeLorean. So also harder.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Because it was the right
This
size.
is one of those Gates catalog items, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Found the right size.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because that's not exactly accessible at the local flaps.
Nope. That's why I have
By the way,
two.
should we mention flaps? It's one of the bingo things, but did we say what flaps is for those who might not understand? That's effing local auto parts store. FLAPS.
Friendly local auto.
Effing. That's what I said. Friendly. F can stand for whatever you want it to stand for.
It depends on the store.
Says the guy
It
from Jersey.
Exactly.
It depends on how your experience is once you get into the store. You can exchange that word depending on how things are
Always
going
pleasant when I'm like, hi, do you have supercharger fluid for a GM 3800? Can you check
there.
again?
And they say, is that a 2-door or 4-door?
They go.
Yeah.
They don't even look. They don't even tap at the other computer. They go, no.
No.
Can you
Or
look?
anything
No.
for
No.
1958 Wartburg. Or, what?
Hey, let's talk about universal stuff. Let's go around the room and everyone talk about something that they bring that has like maybe nothing to do with, like, it's not an actual part for the car.
Well, I think we already talked about. I talked about hoses. I think hoses and the clamp bag. There's so many times where I'm standing in the garage and people are like, I need a hose, or people literally send other people looking for things down to us, because I get the shoebox out of the toolbox and say, okay, figure out what we have. Because Chris keeps what?
Box?
Yes,
Like
the
a,
shoebox.
like a hinge lid on it.
It's for my steel toe boots.
Okay.
It's right. So we
Safety talk
keep
again.
right. Check it off again. Yes. So basically we have a shoebox full of odd size, different sizes, all sizes. I think robot hoses and clamps. Easy
I'm
answer.
going next.
Go.
All right. When you take apart your race car, the very first thing you need to do is to get a bucket. And
Preferably with a lid.
in that bucket goes all the nuts and the bolts that you're no longer using on that car, because you take out 1,000 pieces of interior and you take out air conditioning systems and you replace the water pump and you throw the water pump bolts in the bucket because it came with new bolts. All of those buckets become the bucket depository for that car. So someone says, who's got the bucket of Nissan? And you just pull out the bucket of Nissan. It's got all those little matchy bolts that you need.
It's better if
That's what you got.
the bucket is unique. So you can
So
say,
you know which one it is.
you know which one it is. So you say, is it the coffee bucket or is it the half of Dello bucket? And then so you figure out what it is, what it looks like,
Good.
and then you denote which car.
I'm adding SpongeBob beach bucket to my Amazon list right
Yeah.
now.
The ones that launch a dishwasher pods come in.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
because They
Yes,
seal
they
up
are.
nice. They're pretty
Well, we've
sturdy.
had the Dunkin'
They got a
Donuts.
handle.
Dunkin' Donuts has the one with the
Coffee
lid,
yeah.
coffee bucket.
I have several that are formula, like kids formula powder.
Yeah.
That was the older cars, because obviously my kid's 13, so it's been a long time since they've been floating around the
I
garage.
think you used to keep batteries to
I do
recycle.
still have batteries, recycling batteries. If
I've
I
been
was
in
at
your
home, I
garage.
could go like this and pull it out because it sits on my desk now.
I know. Okay.
Is it at the angle of repose like the other one was? Or
They
you can't
always
put
are.
anything on it?
They always are.
And this is the other thing, we've hinted at this before, but having this assortment of hoses and clamps, and there's always a theme of people come to the 3 Pedal Mafia pit looking for this. We make jokes about Bruce and the Magic Trailer. Is This is just good karma. And even if you don't have the exact hose, maybe they can cut the hose and then run a metal pipe in there and join it all up. And then you're helping somebody get back out on the racetrack. And that's really what this is always about.
Last thing is wires. There's always going to be something that the wire on something fails or cooks or rubs on something, or all of a sudden, for some reason, your fan doesn't go on and you need to add a switch. And you really should put a relay on that switch, but you got to run all this stuff. So now you need wires, connectors, crimpers, a switch, a relay, all that, and probably a fuse, because you probably blew the fuse on whatever it was you're running. Or you need to add an inline fuse,
shrink tubing,
heat shrink tube, but at least a roll of electrical tape.
Yeah.
All that stuff, just you need a box of wires, connectors, fittings,
switches,
relays, switches. But you don't you'd get the package of the red, yellow, blue. Okay, get extra butt connectors, so there's never enough there. But also bring some of the big ones like you need for your main power supply cables, because those are the ones that you're not going to be able to, if something goes wrong and that pulls out or gets cut or something. All right, do you have any of those 4 AN or 4 gauge wire stuff that has the right size ring terminal to go on your kill switch or go on your battery, or just a butt splice connector for that? Sometimes you just need that. The big ones really help. That's all.
I'm going to ask you, but also around the horn, but also our listeners, is there a generic on-off rocker style switch from any major manufacturer that if you see in the junkyard, you grab as many as you can get your hands on? Because there's some companies out there that just make good switches, like good, robust, can do them with driving glove style switches.
Older cars, you're more likely to find them because they were a little sturdier, and newer cars, they can't have like that kind of switches. They don't really work. Like they're not safe.
You die if you hit them in a car crash.
Yeah.
I prefer aftermarket. I'm going to be honest with you. Aftermarket switches are cheap enough, and they're a lot easier to wire. So like the off-road light world can make switches in 37 different kinds of shapes, sizes, and they're dirt cheap, and just honestly, the same thing that holds your wire and your butt connectors. You probably have a project that you bought 9 switches for and you only need 7. Throw the extra 2 in.
I used to really enjoy conversion vans. They had those nice old school 70s rocker style for the library reading lights.
Yeah.
Your junkyards in the desert are a lot
This is in Georgia
than our junkyards.
Even still,
ours are rusty. There are no conversion vans in a New Jersey junkyard.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. Hamza gave us a link back in that show. We had Hamza on talking about design. He gave us a website that he uses for industrial switches. So those are probably the good quality stuff that I would go for. I don't remember what episode that was, but someone can probably look that up.
I'll find it.
Rental's saying it's going to be.
Yeah, but that's the kind of place I would look instead of buying the one at the flaps or buying the pack of 10 for $2 on Amazon. Like spend the $3 a switch for a switch that's going to work.
The metal one we have in our car works really well.
The metal toggle switches, just old school.
Can easily do it with a glove.
Solid,
no problem.
solid feel to it too.
Yeah.
Like if it's on, if it's off.
Click.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Anyone have anything else they want to talk about?
Before we move on, so if we missed anything, a spare that you have found vital, a non-car part you've talked about, throw it on any of our social medias, get a hold of us, give us feedback, put it down there in the doodly-doo. We'll talk about that in a bit. But
I just thought of something. If your car's modern enough to have ABS, bring a spare ABS sensor. I actually have this for the Mazda because its only vehicle speed sensor that it has is the wheel speed sensors. And if those aren't working, the cam phasing doesn't work. So we lose a bunch of power.
Cam phasing?
Because that's how the car knows how fast it's going to be able to adjust the basically VTEC.
Wow.
So I have one spare for it. I need to get a rear spare. But anyway, I just thought of that. So there's one for you.
excellent.
Who knew? Awesome.
Chris knew. That's why the Mazda does so well.
That's why the Mazda. Yeah, exactly. That's why the Mazda.
No, that's
going.
because right. Or so it does keep going. That's yes.
All right, everyone, hold on to your butts.
Okay.
we have a new final segment. All right. Is anyone else as excited as I am on a new final segment?
Mental seems pretty excited.
my
but
Mental
gosh.
seems pretty excited. You
I've
know,
got
we've
the
done
intro.
Just the Tip. We've done Just the Tip, I think, since the first episode.
Yeah.
We've done.
And you already had just a good Just the Tip this week.
It's fine. We can go back. We got next week. Don't worry. We've hella sweeter but terrible, where y'all talk about how terrible of an idea I or Mental have. We have On the Spot, where I ask a question that no one has ever heard of. And we have a new one called JOG. Just One Goat. Who wants to introduce our new segment?
So this was something that whrrrrr thief Aaron came up with in our listener feedback, and we're going to give it a try. So he said it's the goat or just one goat. And
it's just one goat in Jeff's mind.
Yeah. If you don't know the just one goat joke, go look up just one goat joke. We'll wait.
It's linked on our Reddit
Just
thread.
one goat joke.
He's
Absolutely. It's there. Don't worry.
It was
at
originally
work.
popularized
You're at
by
work.
it was
Lenny.
actually popularized by Paul McCartney, I think, told us on the Tonight Show back a long time ago. So anyway, it's a great joke. We use it all the time. So Aaron said, let's give us a try. So Jeff, keep going.
All right. From whrrrrr thief Aaron on our Facebook. We had a discussion linked in our show notes. And we had it on our Reddit. Wow, people are on our Reddit. Every week I hear from Mental something about Mercedes-Benz and how many F1 titles they have.
It's 8 consecutive Formula One Constructors Champions, which, by the way, is more than anyone else.
Thanks, Mental. We need to add that to the bingo card.
Yeah.
and Mercedes, and nobody can mention a Mustang without asking how many bystanders were plowed over. Mercedes does hold the record for most bystanders in one swipe, thanks to the 1955 running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Pierre Lavang killed 83 spectators and injured nearly 180 more. If you don't know about this story,
Ding.
Sorry. If you don't know this story, you don't know about the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and you should check out the tragic history.
The link to that story is in our show notes.
Oh, excellent. But anyway, not even the glory days of Group B Rally can touch that many bystanders, let alone every Mustang and every Cars and Coffee combined. So Mercedes, goats, just one goat. Let's keep moving on.
I actually had a book about this when I was a kid. And people got knowledge from books, and it was the story of this horrible accident. 83 killed, 180 more injured. One of the quotes in the book is a woman started screaming, and the responders couldn't find out why she was screaming. When they finally said, "You don't appear to be injured," she said, "A foot fell on me." Now, what had happened is,
sorry to laugh.
Even to this day, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is run on some public roads, and there was a very narrow pit lane. A car went to slow down. Another one went to pop out around it, got in the way, and the Mercedes hit a hay bale, began to spin, and literally disintegrated, hurling its parts into the crowd that were 2 feet away from the side of the road as this car is going 155 miles an hour.
With a hay bale protecting it from the
exactly. This was
safety. So much safety.
This was such a tragedy that not only did it completely rewrite how the tracks were laid out, and we were having similar incidents because people were still racing in this in streets, downtown streets in the United States. But for 32 years, Mercedes left organized motorsport competition and did not come back until the late 80s. My thing is, you're not going to put this on Mercedes alone, because there were several cars in there. And from the actual article, in the end, after a 3-week investigation, the inquiry ruled that no specific driver was responsible for the crash, and it was merely a terrible racing incident. So I'm going to say, you're not putting this on just on Mercedes, whereas every Mustang plowing into a crowd video is every time the fault of the driver, every single time. No argument about that. In keeping with the spirit of the question, you can't really say Mercedes is the greatest of all time, because that goes to Ferrari, which has twice as many titles as Mercedes. probably just because Mercedes didn't race for 32 years and they had to give them a chance to catch up. So I'm going to have to actually go with just one goat.
All right.
And to clarify, for the few people who might not know what we mean when we say goat, not just one goat, but goat is acronym for greatest of all time. So.
So we're saying, is Mercedes the
Is it-
goat
Or
just
one goat? Oh, Jeff finally gets the joke. Even
I
though he read
finally
it.
get it.
Okay, good.
That's what you get for being at work all day and not reading
Yeah.
the show notes before they get there. So,
All right.
so Mental says
Just one goat.
just one goat. Don't blame
Just one
Mercedes.
goat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that too. I like that. I also gonna. Oh, sorry, Chris. Do you want to say?
I was going to say that is a long time ago. I don't think one big incident builds a reputation. Lots of repeated incidents builds a reputation. For example, Mental and Jeff each may have finished one project.
Between
May
us,
have.
between
I
the
think so.
two of us,
But-
we finished.
It's the repeated incomplete projects and lack of progress that builds the stereotype. So I'm going to say this is the just one goat thing has not followed them forever. Like that's why the Mustang, that's why it sticks to the Mustangs, because it happens all the time. It's not one dude plowed down a mall full of people. It's everybody with a Mustang leaves cars and coffee follows down like two people. So that's the difference.
I am ready to answer this question, and it is definitely just one goat for both, and this is why. Mercedes has had a track record of 8 world titles, or whatever the hell the number is.
Consecutive constructors.
Thank you.
Formula One champion.
All
Talk
in the
over 'em.
same, all in the same era, because the turbo cars, they dominated the turbo cars, and Lewis Hamilton may be the actual GOAT. And now I'm going to bring it to the Mustangs. It's also just one GOAT for the Mustangs and not really a thing that they do all the time, because just as many Camaros and Vipers and other things and
Guys with poke, like
yeah,
you could put this on a lot of them.
right. That's what I'm saying. They're not the only GOAT effers out there. It's not just the Mustangs that F goats. It's all of you idiots who lay into the gas, leaving your cars and coffee. Just one GOAT all around.
You guys all put out pretty good ideas here. I'm struggling. I'm not swayed one way or another. I think I do think that Lewis Hamilton might be one of the GOATs. I think that I like the idea that it's not just like Mercedes has been doing good things for a long time, but it's just an era. I mean, I don't know. You guys bring up all good things. I don't know. I can't. I like.
Go ahead and wax about Mustangs.
I mean, it's not just Mustangs.
Want
Like you
everyone to
said.
the Waterfest to want to see something stupid,
Right? This is what I'm saying. I know
I don't see a lot
See?
of Waterfest oversteering because they have a solid rear axle, and then on it, but they do.
They're
a lot of dumb
dumb
stuff.
and
They
don't
do
know how
other
to
dumb
drive.
things. Don't worry. Yeah.
They drive flat out, like we talked about earlier. Just in Ocean City, Maryland, for no reason. So I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on this one. That's okay. Who cares? Let us know what you think. Check out our Facebook discussion on this, or Reddit. We're going to put it up there. If you have any ideas on our ending segments, if you want to come up with a new idea for us, drop us a line in any of our social media or any of our email and that good stuff, because we want to hear from you.
And if you're watching on YouTube, right down there in the doodly doo.
As
we move on to the next show promo, Chrissy, tell us what's coming up next.
Okay, it's story time. We love story time. We always get a lot of laughs. We're going to talk about our memories. So what was your greatest and worst memory on the track? Did you learn anything? We're going to tell some of our best memories, and we hope you're going to share some of yours with us, and then we will talk about them too.
Yeah, these are on track memories, right?
Correct.
We're not talking paddock memories because that could be. We might have to check with our lawyers.
Oh, that's a lot.
Make sure
I'm not sure I remember a lot of paddock stuff.
I don't either.
make sure enough
That
time
seemed like a
has
great idea at the
passed.
time.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I have so many of them.
Yes.
No,
We're talking about in the car.
on track, in the car. Yep. Driving fun, driving bad, all those good things.
And if you've
there's
had those,
plenty of
let
bad to
us
hear
know.
about, don't worry.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free and worth what you paid for. Then you go to iTunes and give us that 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. We'll probably talk about it. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on any of the social medias, Facebook, Everyone Racers, or email us, everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can text mental pictures of your junk, 484-243-0455. He loves junk pics. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook, Everyone Racers, Reddit at /E1R. Even in that cesspool, we're there. Thanks again. And everyone, until next time, keep the shiny side up. Unless you forgot your spares and you flip the car over, then there's no shiny side. Keep the wheels down.